I had a bit of a rough childhood. I never felt love. I always felt like I was a burden on my family. When I was quite young, I had a lot of health problems, and I used to have a stoma bag for about 12 years, and it was really horrible to live with. I was always bullied as a child. I'd had surgery all through my teens. I was always missing school, so I never really made any friends. And because of the health problems, it brought a lot of tension between me and my mum. We'd always be at loggerheads, always arguing, and sometimes it was quite nasty. When I was 2 years old, I was abused by my biological father, and I'd been given sexually transmitted diseases. I was told this just a few weeks after my 18th birthday. After I found that out, I grew more resentment towards my mum because it had been kept from me for so long. So it kind of made the division even more so. It got to the point where one day I've had a massive argument with her. I've walked out the house and I've come back and I found that I have my stuff thrown out into a black bag in front of the house, and they've kicked me out. I ended up going to central London. I never knew about homelessness. I didn't know where to go. And now all of a sudden I'm living on the streets in the back alley with nothing and no one here to help me, no friends, no family, no nothing. I was going to homeless centres and homeless shelters, but because I'd still been so new on the streets, they still weren't willing to help me. I got a lot of abuse from a lot of people. I had people spitting at me, throwing things at me. I'd had food thrown at me while I was sleeping. I think I had once maybe somebody vomited on me when I was in my sleeping bag. I spent 2 winters physically sleeping on the streets. I was always getting pneumonia and chest infections all the time. I'd have people threatening to kick my head in because I'm in their begging spot. It was always constant fear. Eventually I did get into a hostel, but it was horrible. There was people dying every day. There was ambulances or fire brigade or police there. Every single day there was something going on. I was moving from hostel to hostel, and I moved to a hostel in Wimbledon, and it was there that I had been introduced to prostitution. The person that I was with, my at the time partner, got involved and started pimping me out as well. I got so depressed and so suicidal to the point where I actually started taking drugs and alcohol. When I didn't have cannabis, I would start punching walls, I'd start punching doors. I used to travel all over London just to go and pick up bulks of cannabis. And then after a while, I started being able to sell it. And the more I was selling, the more I was able to buy for myself, the more I was able to smoke. I was hospitalised twice for an overdose because I just had enough of going back and forth and I wasn't getting anywhere. In total, I spent roughly about 7 years in hostels and on streets. I eventually managed to get a little bit of help, and through the process of that, we managed to get my own flat. Even though I'd had my flat, it wasn't like, okay, everything's fine now. I still had the drug problems, I still had problems with my family, but my neighbour, he was quite a friendly guy, and he started telling me about this help centre. He invited me like 3 times, and on the 3rd time he invited me, I don't know, it was really weird. It was like something had told me, like something inside said to me, this is your last chance. I carried on coming, and it was really weird. It was literally like the bishop was talking about my life. After having my prayers made, all my health problems, they just disappeared. And I was like, you know what? God, if you really are who you say you are, I want to stop everything to do with smoking cigarettes, smoking cannabis. 3 days later, I'd stopped smoking. About a week later, I took part of the campaign, and I was only getting £175 from my benefits. So I said, this is what I'm doing, God. I'll give you everything I've got here. But what I want you to make sure is that I never run out of food. I always have food in my cupboard. I always have food in my fridge. Whatever happened, I can't really remember, but I had like a payment from the job centre, like a massive back pay, and I managed to just fill my cupboards with food. And from that day, I've never, ever, ever gone without food, heating or electric, ever. I was looking for work and I got a job, and it was the first job that I'd had in 11 years. I was there for about 3 years, 2.5, 3 years, and it gave me the skills I have to be able to do my own painting and decorating business. I'm more financially stable enough to help my business to grow, and my business is growing quite well. My family are going really well. My mum and I are just starting to rebuild our relationship. Me and my biological father, I forgave him, and he gave his life to God before he passed away. I've become a lot more happier in myself. And then after a while, I received the Holy Spirit. It was like a whole ton of weight had been lifted from me, from my heart. I could feel, for the first time I actually felt peace. I felt like an utter happiness. It was just amazing. It was the best feeling in the world. Everything's coming together so nice and so smoothly. I think that Holy Spirit was the final piece that I need. I received so much more than what I gave. The things that I've received are more than money can't buy what I've received. And even if I do have troubles and problems, I know that they won't be stresses because I have the Holy Spirit support.